Hey everybody, back again, and this time I'm actually going to do a bit of work here, and I'm going to hopefully help some people who are trying to get the accurate information on how to adjust that cam chain tensioner in there. Before I get started, I'm going to be taking this entire engine out eventually. I've got all gaskets and seals because it is leaking very badly. And it's been going on for some time, and I've been living with it, but now it's just driving me crazy. So anyway, and I'll probably be painting it up and doing stuff like that. But for now, all I want to do is adjust that cam chain tensioner. And there's conflicting information online, and I've talked to a few different people about it, and come to the conclusion that the 74 manual for the Honda mechanics had the accurate explanation on how to do it properly. The Clymer manual that pretty well everyone has doesn't even tell you anything about it. Describes how it works and all that, but doesn't tell you how to adjust it. Later manuals tell you how to adjust it, and they do it, I think, top dead center on the left cylinder, or 10 degrees past maybe, or something like that. But from what I understand, what you need to do is go 90 degrees past top dead center on the left hand cylinder, and that position, all four valves, left and right cylinder excuse me, are all closed, so that puts no tension on the chain. It's very slack, and that is at that point that you undo the locking nut on the cam chain tensioner, and it will tighten up. So anyways, I'll go through the whole thing. I'm going to remove the exhaust tappet cover here, intake. I'm going to do the stator cover, has to come off. There's lines in there for indexing. And in this case, I'm going to take that tensioner off entirely, since I don't know if it's actually working at all, since I've never had it apart. So I'm going to be taking it off, and we'll go over that too, and I'll check it out before I put it back on to actually do it. So, and as a side note, the pulley will pop out of there so I can have a look at it, because I don't know what it looks like either in there, and it'll be something I need to order if it's in rough shape when I rebuild the motor. Anyway, I'll get back to you shortly here when I get all these things off. Okay, well, I had the camera off. I had a couple things there. I've got the tappet covers off, the tensioner is off, and I've got the stator cover removed as well. I ended up having to use a drive set. Despite appearances in there, that pulley through the camera looks really nasty, but it's actually in pretty darn good condition. I will replace it when I rebuild the motor, but it's good enough to use right now. The other issue I came on was that this stator, the mark, if I have a light, I can show this a little bit better. Sorry about all the movement. Okay, that mark right there, right here, is supposed to be here. So what I did was I lined it up. I lined up the LT right here to this point, imaginary point here. And once I did that, you check up here through the tappets, and there should be some play there on both sides. If not, you have to take this stator and just go 360 degrees, line it up again to here. I'm sure your mark will be here if you're looking at your bike, and that will get you top dead center on your left hand cylinder when you have play on both sides. And what you want to do is go 90 degrees past that point. So 180 would be over to here, so you want your LT to be between these 2 points, which is right here, which is where I have it. And what that does is it has all four valves, your exhaust, intake, on the left and right cylinders shut, which means you have play on all four tappets. So I have the same thing on the other side. I won't go over there and show that, but I do have play on all four valves, meaning everything's shut, and there is minimal tension on the chain. So now I'll get on to the, I'll show you the tensioner, how it works. Okay, so this is the cam chain tensioner here off the bike, and all it is a spring-loaded plunger on the inside here, held in place by this nut right here, lock nut, and then this nut. There's a spring, there's the plunger there. All it does is the spring forces the plunger out against the cam chain pulley inside the engine, which gives you some tension on the chain. So how this works, you just loosen your lock nut. It's going to obviously be in there. Lots of slack on your chain, pulleys, whatever. You loosen this top nut out, and this will automatically adjust to whatever tension it is comfortable with. I don't know what you want to call it, but whatever. It's going to adjust to it, whatever it needs to. And then you just lock it back down, and that's it. So anyway, I'm going to push it back in so it's sort of in a neutral position for when I put it back in the bike. But I've got a new gasket there out of my kit, and I'm going to put this back on, and we'll make the adjustment. Okay, so I've got the cam chain tensioner reinstalled, and everything's still loose here in the tappets, as you can hear. I'm not sure if you can see it or not. Anyway, basically all I'm doing is, right. So we've got no tension on that chain, and of course the tappets are the same on both sides of the engine. So all I'm going to do is loosen the, hopefully you can see this. I'm going to loosen this lock nut here. Yeah, that guy right there. I'm going to loosen this off, and we should hear that plunger pop in there and snap into position. So, fingers crossed. Let's see if we can hear that. There. Hopefully you heard that. I was kind of talking. I shouldn't have been talking. See if we can hear that. See if we can hear that. But it did snap into position. So all I'm going to do is I'll tighten it initially with my fingers. Boy, tight spot there. Okay. Tighten that down. It is quite compact or tight in there, so a little bit of patience is required. So anyway, all I'm going to do is tighten this down to hold the piston in position, and then I'm going to tighten this lock nut down. So I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, so it was way too late for me to start the bike last night. So just as an update there, I got everything put back together, and I started the bike this morning. And for those of you who have 350s, you'll know that what they sound like typically if you tune it to the Clymer or any other manual. This 90 degrees past top dead center is incredible. It is so much quieter. So I'll start the bike up, but as you know, like typically cameras pick up every high-pitched sound and tick and everything else, so I'm not sure if it'll sound quite as good through the camera as it does in person, but it made a huge difference. And I guess the manual from 1974 is a very good way to do it. So anyways, I'll start it up and turn the camera back on. Okay, I have no idea what that's going to sound like through the camera, but take my word for it, much quieter, much quieter. So in short, line your mark up, which would be found roughly here on your stator. Line it up to the LT mark and reach in here, and tappets on your inlet and exhaust should have some play in them. If they don't, just rotate it around 360 degrees, line up your LT again, and you should have, line it up again, go 90 degrees past, so it'll bring you to about here, so your LT will be roughly in this position here. And then if you go on the exhaust and inlet side, here should have play, and also on the cylinder on the other side of the bike. So all 4 valves are closed, so play on the tappets on all 4 valves, and that's the most slack on the chain. That's when you adjust your cam tensioner, and you're good to go. And believe me, you will be surprised. So anyway, hope that helps for those who were in the same position as me with a loud rattly engine and unknown reasons. So anyway, talk to you later, hope it helps. Ciao.